Hey everybody, this is Alan, Self-Reliance Energy. So I put this mini split in, got it fired up and it's running, putting out nice cold air. Like I said before, this is a brand I've not used before, but so far so good. I'm going to pause this and then we'll do some more outside. So inside you could probably hear the fan running. That's because I've got it on the highest possible speed, trying to cool the house down. Turned the thing on, it was 80 some degrees in there. But this is the outside unit running. And it's fairly quiet. I mean, well, all these mini splits are fairly quiet, but I'm liking this. So, believe it or not, if it looks like it's not exactly level, it's because the scaffold's not level and the siding's not level. I put my level on there and I'm like, what the heck, that siding is about as crooked as you can get. But that was on there when I came here, so I can't take any responsibility for that at all. You will see the drain line. That's the condensate drain line coming off of there. And I wanted to get it, I didn't want it dripping out over the window. Especially, well, I gotta pull back a little here. Especially since that window is right above that door. That would have been dripping water right as you walk in and out. So I run it down a little ways and dumped it out. There's nothing for it to hurt where it's at. I didn't want to try to run it all the way to the bend because the farther you take those, the more likely you are to have problems with your condensate drain. It's not a problem if when you first come through the wall you immediately go down, but since this one doesn't go down, this one goes sideways. I actually tried to pitch that down a little bit as it went. I didn't want to get it so low that it interfered with the window opening, but it seems to be draining fine, and it'll just have to be what it is. So this being I am so glad this was not a customer's house. We've got a mud pit there. Everything else is dry, no problem, but right in there, it's just a muddy spot. And I think that's because we have little springs all over the place. Several places in the yard that rarely ever dry up. The ground is sloped. The nice thing about these scaffolds is you can set your cross arms at different places and kind of level up the platform. But good grief, and I think that's a 12-foot ladder, and I literally was standing on top, the very, very top, to reach some of that. It's not something you're really supposed to do, but that's what I had to do to get the job done, so I did it. Anyhow, this has been a 2-day affair, and I could normally do one of these in 5 hours, but it's like every single thing I put my hand to here fought with me. You have jobs like that once in a while. You just learn to live with them. So, but it is running. We've got the new power in. Okay, so I'm planning on 3 mini splits this into the house. As you can tell by there's another bracket and there's another bracket. And so out here it's an exterior grade sub panel. See, it says sub panel number 2. The breaker inside is labeled sub panel number 2. That way, if anybody else ever has to deal with this, they're clearly labeled. Or someday when I'm old and can't remember what the heck I did, it's still clearly labeled. So I haven't labeled these yet, but this is the one that's running. These will be for future ones. This is in here because I'm going to put an outlet out here. I'll probably just hang it off the bottom of the box. And, or maybe put it on the side. Haven't made up my mind yet. But I wanted an outlet out here because we just don't have an outside outlet on this end of the house. There's nothing. I run number 6 wire on a 60 amp breaker. That is way more than I need. These units only pull about 5 to 6 amps each. So with 3 of them, that's, 15 to 20 amps. If all 3 of them are running under full load, they just, and that's at 240 volts. Of course, if you got a 120 volt unit, it's going to pull more amperage. But that's way overdone. However, if I should decide to put something else in this box, I wanted the capacity. I didn't want to run a lighter wire. I could have run number 10 wire and said, oh, 30 amps, that's more than enough. That'll do everything. And then let's say someday I decide I'm doing something out here and I need a heavier service. Well, guess what? I don't have the capacity that I need. So I went ahead and run that out as a 60 amp service. Probably never use that. But like so many things in life, it's a whole lot better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So I got a little cleanup to do. I got to finish taking the scaffold down, and I still got some junk to pick up. But it's nice and cool standing in front of that unit inside. I really like that. One thing that I can't say that I'm real pleased with, most of these manufacturers, they have a cover that goes on the end of the machine that covers those fittings. Just a little plastic cover. Sometimes it's 1 or 2 screws that holds it on. This does not. They don't have a cover for them. So I think I would like it better if that was covered. I think it'd look nicer, but it is what it is. I've been using a black UV tape to protect the insulation. That insulation in there, you can see some on the end. If that lays out in the sunlight after 2-3 years, it starts breaking down and it'll fall apart, and you got to cover it with something. Well, I've had this UV protective tape, and I ordered this. It's instead of being black, this is kind of a silver, and it's got a weave in it. It's a little harder to work with. It doesn't have the same flexibility, but it's going to be a lot tougher, I think. Anyhow, I'm trying it out. But if anybody comes to do something and they leave the insulation exposed to the sunlight, it's just a matter of time. It's going to fall apart. It needs something to cover it, to protect it. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Talk to you later. Bye.